mynews.studio.
A single injection has rewritten a newborn's genes. But can this kind of tailored editing really become the future of medicine?
Today is December 20th, 2025. Let's start with the headline everyone's talking about. Gene editing breakthroughs this year have shifted how we look at rare diseases and even some cancers.
Exactly. Just this year, a new gene therapy managed to slow cognitive decline in people with Huntington's disease by 75%. That's a significant leap for a condition that's had so few options. At the same time, advanced CAR-T base editing brought leukemia patients into remission. Now people are asking, could these technologies finally change the outlook for diseases we thought were untreatable?
And it's not only about those large studies. There are first-in-human trials for personalized CRISPR therapies too. Look at the case of KJ, an infant with CPS1 deficiency. Researchers identified KJ's specific gene mutation right after birth, designed a base editing therapy just for that error, and ended up improving protein tolerance, stabilizing ammonia levels, and avoiding serious side effects. The whole thing, from diagnosis to treatment, took just 6 months. Can this kind of turnaround really scale up?
That's the challenge. For KJ, the therapy was custom-made, built for just one child. The researchers used a reusable CRISPR platform, but each new patient still needs time and resources to adapt it. So, we're not talking about something that can be rolled out for every disease, at least not yet. But for rare, urgent cases, it can be life-saving.
Compare that to the Huntington's therapy you mentioned, Leti 101. Instead of designing the treatment for every individual, it targets common genetic variants that many patients share. That means it's much easier to manufacture at scale and reach more people.
Which brings us to a big set of questions, technical and regulatory. Science is moving quickly, but how do you make sure these treatments are both safe and effective for all the different mutations people might have? Standardizing approval is tough if each case could be unique. And how do you really prove safety in the long term after just a few months or years of data?
Manufacturing is another issue. Personalized therapies can work in emergencies, but if you want to reach thousands, you need faster and more automated production. Regulators now talk a lot about fast-tracking platform therapies, so approaches that can be adapted to different mutations but still rely on a standard, tested backbone.
And then there's access. If a custom therapy for one child costs millions, what happens to patients in low and middle-income countries? Is there any sign of global frameworks to subsidize or share these technologies?
The first-in-human trials do hint at possible solutions. KJ's case showed rapid customization is possible, but it also underlined the need for international data sharing and collaboration. The BCAR7 leukemia trial is another example. Open protocols mean more institutions can use the same tools, which lowers costs and expands access.
And there are still ethical questions. Editing a somatic cell to treat disease isn't the same as germline editing, but what does it mean over the long term? How do we follow up with patients for decades? Should there be a global registry to track outcomes and side effects?
People listening might be wondering, how soon could we actually see these therapies available to most patients? The reality is, it depends. The disease, the technology, and the regulatory approach all play a role. Off-the-shelf therapies are much closer to wide use, but personalized treatments are likely to stay niche, at least for now.
There's also the matter of cost. Will these treatments ever be affordable for everyone, or do we risk creating a new kind of health divide? Maybe public funding or more international cooperation could help.
As gene editing moves from the lab to the clinic, regulators are trying to keep pace. Some are using rolling reviews, while others want long-term efficacy data before approving anything. The fast pace is making everyone rethink what counts as safe and effective.
So, to sum up, 2025 was the year gene editing moved from promise to practice. We've seen rapid, patient-specific treatments, scalable options for common diseases, and the start of new global discussions about access and ethics.
The impact really is global. These breakthroughs could reduce suffering for millions, but only if science, ethics, and economics all move forward together. What needs to happen to make sure no one gets left behind?
That's our show for today. From a single newborn's custom-edited genes to treatments that could help millions, we're watching medicine change right in front of us.
Thanks for listening. This episode was produced by the mynews.studio. Try it now for free.